Hello! So today I'm going to talk about In Memoriam, a debut novel by Alice Winn, based around themes of love, loss, grief, class, trauma, and yeah, there's a little bit of coming of age in there as well. I've been reading a lot of books recently that are on many people's predictions for the Booker longlist. I thought I would just start reading ones that jumped out at me from people's lists. And the recent two that I've read that made quite a few people's lists is In Ascension and Chain Gang All-Stars. Both of those novels did not even come close to meeting the hype that was thrust upon them. In Ascension I felt was like an alright 2-star, 2.5-star read, and Chain Gang All-Stars I thought was good but nothing more than that. But out of everyone's predictions, In Memoriam by Alice Winn is one that tops most people's lists. It is the book that most people have said it is a certainty that it will make the Booker longlist. And spoiler alert, I have finally read one of these books that meets the hype. Set in 1914, World War I is ceaselessly churning through men fighting on both sides. The violence on the front feels very far away to Henry Gaunt, Sidney Elwood and the rest of their classmates, safely enclosed in their idyllic little boarding school in the countryside. But the buzz of war permeates throughout this school. The news of recent deaths of classmates only makes the buzz and the excitement of war all that more enticing. Henry Gaunt is half German and he is battling his own private demons because he is infatuated with his best friend, the glamorous Sidney Elwood. But little does he know that Elwood is also pining for him in return. Henry Gaunt's wealthy family ask him to enlist in order to forestall any anti-German sentiment they are facing. Henry does this immediately in order to escape this infatuation and building love that he has for Elwood. However, Elwood's love for Henry forces him to enlist as well to join him on the front line. And the rest of their fellow classmates soon follow. Even though these boys are only between 16 to 18 years old, because of their position, their privilege, their wealth and their education, they are thrust into senior positions within the military. However, the grim realities of war and death soon smother them as they do not know who is going to die next. This is an epic story and it goes in so many different directions. Now, I'm not going to tell you the individual plot beats because that would just be ruining some of the magic and adventure of where this novel goes. It is filled with tragedy, but it is also filled with love as Henry and Elwood are coming to terms with their love in the grip of war, the grip of death. Side note, this book is not afraid to shy away from the violence and horrors of war. So if you do not read a lot of violent fiction, I will say check out the content warnings for this one because it definitely goes there in places. So what did I like and what didn't I like? What I liked. I love that it's a genre-bending novel. It is both literary, historical, but also a gay romance. It's packed with action, but yet it never loses sight of its focus, the characters. There's just a wonderful blend at play. There's also a fair amount of humour in this novel. That whole British stiff upper lip and making jokes even in the face of danger is littered throughout this novel. It lightens some of the very dark themes and ideas that are at play. And it also heightens the tragedies even further when they happen. The writing is beautiful and refined. I mean, for a debut novel, my lord is it refined, and it just flows so bloody well. Structurally, the book is excellent. The multiple perspectives and plot points are all woven together in such a tight and controlled way. Bravo. Also, the message and the politics of this story just weave themselves beautifully into the writing. They are never overpowering the story. They are never overpowering the characters. They just sort of start to build and hook onto you as the novel progresses. Yeah, just expertly done. It just hits you emotionally in so many different ways and pulls you in so many different directions in a really controlled way as well. I just loved it for that. What didn't I like? Only one thing. The use of working class men as pawns in World War I, cannon fodder if you will, is sort of slightly hinted at, and then the idea of that these rich, posh boys get put into senior positions within the military. Now, these men and boys of privilege are still somewhat cannon fodder, are still pawns at play, but not as much as the working class men. And this novel only really hints at that class divide. It only really scratches the surface of that deep class divide that was happening in that war at that time. And I feel like to bump this novel up, to make this novel even better, to hit that glorious 5th star in my head, this area would need to have been explored more. It scratches at it, but it doesn't go deep enough. But to defend the novel somewhat, this class divide isn't really the focus of the novel, and it is already a novel that is packed to the gills with many different themes and ideas. It's pulling in many different directions. But yeah, for me, for it to be, 5 stars, absolutely outstanding, that area would need to be pushed further rather than merely just hinted at. For a debut novel, this is an amazingly refined and well-crafted piece of work. My jaw drops really after reading it at thinking that this is Alice Winn's first novel. It's mind-blowing. I agree with everybody else. I think this deservedly needs to be on the long list for the Booker Prize. I'm going to give this book 4 stars out of 5. It was excellent. So, have you read this novel? If so, what did you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.